What's up, guys? Welcome back to JSig Poker, where I give you guys tips, tricks, and strategies on how to play PLO, no limit, hand reviews. If you guys love PLO content or no limit, hit that like and subscribe button because I'll be bringing you guys more weekly tips and strategies. And if you guys also want to play in a club on Club GG, I know a really good club that you guys can play on. There's tons of games running from no limit, low stakes to high stakes PLO as well. There's tons of games, really good, really fun. If you guys want to join, hit me up on Instagram at Acoustic Shredder, and I'll be sure to get you in. All right, you guys. So let's hop into it. Today I'm going to do a hand review on the Lodge stream that was done about a year ago, where Doug Polk was commentating as well. So let's get into the first hand. All right, so very first hand, we get a Josh raising from the straddle, I believe, to 900 with Queen Jack 10-7 off here. Let me put my webcam up for you guys. There we go. We get Andrew calling from the cutoff with Ace King 8-7 double suited. I would actually much prefer to 3-bet this hand pre-flop. You're connected with the nut suit with another single lower suited 7-8, right? You do really well versus other hands. And you're definitely going to have a range advantage here. But he does go ahead and decide to make the call, and we go to a flop.
Heads up to a flop. 10-9 deuce.
All right, so the flop comes 10-9 2 spades. We get Andrew flopping a open-ended with the nut flush draw with the backdoor flush draw. Really, really solid flop for him. Whereas Josh has top pair with an open-ended, but no other flush draw to go with it.
Open-ended straight draw and nut flush draw.
He does decide to make the check here, and I do like it. I'm playing a little bit of pot control. There's not a lot of good turns for us, even if he does hit 2 pair, right, or a straight. A flush can get there as well. And if he does make that 2 pair, it can complete other straights. So I do like playing pot control here. I would fully expect Andrew to make a C-bet with our top pair. With our open-ended and nut flush draw.
Currently behind the pair of tens of Josh, but does have the equity lead.
And he does go ahead and bet 2/3. I like the bet. I like the check call from Josh. Turn comes, wow, what a big card for both players. Josh turns top 2 with an open-ended without any flush draw. Andrew has a double flush draw with a gut shot to the nuts and the nut flush draw. So I fully expect him with the stack to pot ratio. It's only 5K. Josh only has 8K behind. If I'm Andrew here, I do like piling it in on the turn, trying to get worse hands to fold. Worse hands like top 2 pair, like 10-9, right? Potentially hands like 10x with the flush draw or any sort of 10x.
Josh, but what's going on for Andrew?
Josh just decided to check, and let's see what Andrew does.
We see that $5 super chat from the poker traveler, Seti Truvino himself. What's up, Seti?
Hello, Steady. Thank you.
I got your bet.
And he does bet pretty small here. I'm not really sure what the strategies behind that small bet is. I think if you're going to semi-bluff here, you're going to call an all-in anyway, so you may just pot, in my opinion. I think that would get the maximum fold equity. Whereas betting small, there's a lot of draws out there. They can potentially call you down. But I'm not expecting Josh to fold here for that sizing, at least making a call or go all in.
3K is the number for Andrew.
With the flush draw and the straight draw.
Josh might be fearful. He is blocking the straight, the nuts here, the king jack. Blocking the flush draw a little bit with the spade of his own. Blocking sets with 2 pairs, so perhaps fearful of a set of deuces or nines perhaps, but he still makes the call. So we have.
And he does make the call, so we go to a river. This is going to be an interesting river here. River is an offsuit 5. Now Josh still having top 2 pair with a blocker to the straight with the jack. And he also blocks a lot of hands like 10 jack king queen, 9 10 jack king. a lot of hands that Andrew can potentially have that beats him. So I do really like Josh's hand as a potential bluff catcher on this river. If you're Andrew, I mean, you kind of got to go for it at this point, right? It's tough because it really depends on what you think Josh can have. And if you're Andrew, you block a lot of draws that Josh can have, so it's not really a great hand to bluff, actually. Plus, you don't have a jack, which makes things a lot worse. But let's see what happens on the river. Josh does check here. Andrew does go all in.
Wow, tough spot for Josh.
And he is repping essentially the king jack or jack 8, possibly. You know, tough spot for Josh, but I think if you are Josh, if you think Andrew's been bluffing here, there's a lot of draws that he can have that you unblock spades, you unblock diamonds. I think you may have to call this down on this brick river if you've gotten to this point.
His opponent either has king jack or jack 8 or is bluffing. I don't think.
Plus, you're getting such good odds. You're getting about 5K to win about 22K. You only have to be right about 20 to 25% of the time here.
The jack's a nice card. It's nice to have the jack. He's not happy he has the 7 of spades. It's a card you want your opponent to have.
Andrew looks a little nervous as well.
It's a tough spot.
He's not moving.
Really tough situation, I think, for a player on the stream today. This is a difficult one. 11K out there. You're calling out 5K.
But yeah, if you're Josh, I mean, what kind of river are you hoping for at this point? That's the best possible river, the 5 of clubs.
This guy is in pain.
This is a tough one.
Props to Andrew there for looking strong, calm, and he's going to win this.
Oh my gosh, and he does make the fold. Andrew gets away with it. Yeah, I don't like that fold at all that Josh made. But let's get on to the next hand here. But just looking back, you guys, if you guys are going to call the flop and turn with this hand, top 2 pair with an open-ended straight draw blocking the jack, you got to have a plan for what you're going to do on the river. You know, you can't just call and just fold a bunch of rivers if it's a brick. You're just giving away money. So if you are going to call the turn, you got to be prepared to call a lot of brick rivers at this point, especially if Andrew's been shown to be aggressive, right, you guys? I hope that makes sense to you guys.
Way to go. He's got it together. Fires into the pocket queens for deuce.
But in this next hand, we got Boots limping in on the button with king, queen, queen 5 single suited. I would much rather prefer a pot. You know, with this hand, you're in position. You have an overpair with the. Actually, it's 3. Yeah, you have an overpair with the suit. I wouldn't much prefer that. But he decides to call. Swim raises to 600 with an unknown hand here. And I like this from Peach. Very, very standard 3-bet with ace, ace, 8, 3 offsuit. You're 3-betting most of your stack. You're going to get it in no matter what. If you were deeper, I would prefer just a flat here if you think your opponent's going to be very sticky on post flop because it's going to not play very well. If it's GTO and it's an online game, you can definitely 3-bet this hand and c-bet a lot of boards and take it down.
Actually, even if he's 1.4, nah, he's going to have to stick this in, yeah.
We might need some water.
Now, it looks like Swim is thinking about making a call with his unknown hand. He calls, and if you're Boots, you kind of just got to just put in money here. You're in position. You're deep versus Swim. You have an overpair with the nut suit. Oh, I don't like that fold at all. But it turns out he was right because Swim ended up having him dominated with king, queen, jack, jack. Yeah, if you're Swim, you just kind of got to call at this point and hope Peach doesn't have aces. Even if he does have aces, you're at 37% equity. Flop comes 10-8-5, 2 diamonds. He Swim flops a monster with an overpair, gut shot, and nut flush draw. Peach has aces with the ace of diamonds, just getting it on this board with the stack size.
Oh, man.
First all in.
And he does go all in here.
And we got action.
And swim calls, very, very standard.
He's actually the
I think on both sides, well played. If I was swim, I would actually consider repotting pre-flop and just isolating in case Peach does have some weird hands. I'm trying to get the other player to fold.
Poker over there watching, cheering on Peach in the 3 seat. 2 cards to come.
And swim is actually a 53% favorite in this hand. Oh,
my God.
another
It's a pure flip.
big turn from gives him even more equity. Oh, unfortunately, a brick river for swim, and Peach does end up holding for that first board there.
Oh.
We thought we were running it one time, of course.
You know, I'm
But that is exactly why you 3-bet with the hand like this, ace, ace, 8, 3, and if you think you're going to be getting in most of your money in pre-flop.
I feel a little bad when people play huge pots and force them to run at once, but maybe that's just what we got to do.
10K and over.
Yeah.
Run it twice. 10K and under one time.
All right, looks like they are thinking about running it twice. I don't know what they're thinking.
I think I'm gonna run.
They should have ran it twice. Okay, here we go. All right, another bad turn for swim. Peach still looking good. Ooh, yeah, and Peach holds 2 times with his offsuit aces. Congratulations. Winning a nice, hefty $9,100 pot. All right, now let's get to the next hand here. Dylan Wiseman, you guys all know him. Very good PLO player. Opens from the cutoff with a very, very strong ace, king, queen, 7, double suited. If you're Peach, yeah, very standard 3-bet with aces. With a nut suit, that all being connected, and your stack size, he 3-bets to 1,400. Now, if you're Dylan here, you do have a couple of options. If you think Peach is 3-betting light, you can definitely 4-bet jam, right? Get it in versus worse hands that you potentially dominate, like King, Jack, 10-9, King, Queen, 10-Jack, Queen, Jack, 10-8 with lower suits. But if you think Peach is really tight, I would prefer just to call here. Because aces and double suited kings are going to be a big part of his range, and a lot of those hands do dominate you. But let's see what Dylan does here. But yeah, we just saw Peach earlier 3-bet with aces. So that being said, if I don't think his 3-betting range is very wide, I'm definitely just going to flat here and see a flop. If you have a 10 in your hand, right, rather than the 7, and it's suited, then I would consider 4-bet jamming, even if Peach is pretty tight, because Peach can have hands like ace, king, 10, 8 double suited, ace, king, queen, jack, right, queen, queen, jack, 10 double suited, king, king, 5, 4 double suited, potentially even worse hands like ace, 5, 6, 7 double suited if you think he's 3-betting a little wide. But that being said, I do like a flat here. All right, he actually does 4-bet and goes YOLO. And he's not going to like the bad news because he's actually going to see he is a 2-to-1 dog here, which is actually really bad in PLO. If you're getting in 2-to-1, you're going to be losing a ton of money in the long run. And this is an $18,400 pot. So in the long run, he's supposed to lose. He's only supposed to win 1 out of 3 times, which isn't good. And of course, Peach is loving it, getting it in here. Ooh, but terrible, terrible flop for Peach. Oh, even a worse turn because now he has top 2 with the nut flush draw, 85%. Oh my God! And Peach gets there on the river, only being an 18% equity dog. And Dylan, Peach is unhappy. Wow. Let's see the second board. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. Dylan flops again. 2-pair, king 7. And Turns a nut flush draw again. Oh, okay. They chop it up. What an incredible 2 boards for Dylan. He was almost ready to scoop that. Getting it in behind. That was a crazy hand. And that's what I always say. That is PLO, folks. That is PLO. All right, now let's get to the very last hand for you guys. We get Peach once again involved in this hand, opening it up with King, Jack 4 with the single suit. We get Happy and Andrew both calling from the under the gun straddle and I believe big blind. Just 2 very standard calls here. Pot is 1300 and we go to a flop. Flop is ace 8-2 all spades. Happy doesn't flop anything. Andrew flops bottom set with no other spade in his hand, and Peach flops a really good hand here with the nut flush blocker, king of spades, and being in position versus 2 players. This is going to be a very high percentage C bet and turn river barrel if nothing changes. It's going to be very profitable in the long run. Just repping that nut flush. But let's see what happens here.
Okay, so we have
Standard check from both players. No reason to bet if you're Andrew.
He can rep that flush if he wants the nut
Peach
flush.
does go ahead and bet out 1300. I do like betting a little bit smaller. This is a very locked down board. There's going to be a ton of hands that you can fold out for about 1/3, 1/4 size pot. Plus, it's still going to allow you enough room to barrel, turn, and river and get a pot size bet in. But he does choose for the larger size, which is interesting. Maybe just people aren't folding. Standard call from Andrew.
Way less likely at this full house, and as you can see, well, no, his equity is good. He's up against the bluff, but still.
Turn is a queen of spades, so nothing changes for Peach. I would fully expect him to continue betting here. And with this bet sizing, you guys, you really want to bet at sizing that is going to help you put maximum pressure on your opponent on the river, right? So there's $3,000 in the pot. Peach has around 6.5K. I would like for Peach to bet anywhere from, half pot. I think, let's say he bets half pot, right? So then pot is going to be around 5,900, and he's going to be left with about 5,000 behind, right? So I do like betting either a 1/3 or a half pot here if you're Peach, and then pretty much jamming any river that bricks out.
Peach has queens, then you have higher sets, but when he bets again, this is actually a good card for Andrew.
So Peach does bet on the slightly larger size, about 2,200. So pot is going to be about 7,300 if Andrew does make this call. Andrew, I don't expect him to go anywhere. He still beats a lot of bluffs here, like king of spades, right? He could have jack of spades, a hand like queen 10, jack 4 with just the jack of spades, or queen 10, jack 8. I'm sorry. 8, 9, 10 jack. Even versus flushes, he does have enough equity to call here and try and fill up. And little does he know, he's actually a lock almost. River comes a offsuit 5. Andrew now going to check, and obviously if you're Andrew, you fully expect Peach to go all in at this point. And you gotta understand, what is Peach's range? He's fully representing the nuts at this point, or at least the second nuts. So you're either gonna be good here, or up against the nuts or second nuts. It's a really tough spot. It just really depends if you think Peach is capable of doing this with a nut flush blocker. He can definitely do this with hands like this. So at this point, it really comes down to the tendencies of Peach. If you don't think he's ever bluffing here, then obviously this is going to be a fold. If you think he's more than capable of bluffing with the blockers or potentially nothing at all, then you might consider it a call with the pot odds here.
What do you think, chat? One, if he should fold. Two, if he should
But honestly, in general, most PLO players they overfold in these spots with bottom set just because the board looks so scary.
It's a tough spot. It'd be so much nicer if he had a spade in his hand. Block those.
Yeah, he just doesn't look confident at this point, right?
That's set. There's a lot of spades out there.
But, you know, if you guys are playing and you're in Andrew's spot, again, you just really want to focus on not your hand, but rather than Peach's tendencies. How aggressive is he post-flop? How often does he barrel, turn, and rivers on these types of boards? Do you think he's out of line at any point? If you do, then you may definitely have to call this down. Or at least worse flushes.
Can he reason this out, sniff out the bluff, and make the call?
And he also loses.
Yeah, and if you're Peach, definitely the best river to bluff because since the board didn't pair, now it's less likely, much less likely Andrew calls with this sets. So I do like it.
Never have 3-4.
That's why I say meaningless.
True.
But
And if he has a low flush, he's in a really tough spot because he was in the big blind. And he does make the call. Wow, what a what a really good call. Yeah, he must have thought that Peach was bluffing a certain portion of the time. So he does make the correct call. That was actually impressive. I actually don't see people a lot of people call there. All right, but that is my hand review for the Lodge stream, the 2550 100 PLO. If you guys like that video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Again, I'll be coming out with hand reviews, different tips and tricks and strategies for that. And until the next video, peace out, you guys.